back to my channel. Today I did a look using the Kat Von D Shade & Light Eye Kit in the shade Plum. This is a really dramatic look for me. I normally don't do looks that are this dramatic, but I honestly love how it turned out. And I also tried out a new foundation in this video that I was not very fond of. I was having quite a few issues with it, so you'll see me struggling a little bit with that in the video. But anyways, if you aren't already, then please subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep watching. First, I'm starting off by filling in my eyebrows, and I'm using the brow pencil by Addicts in the shade Malt. And I'm doing this first because I've noticed that I actually like filling them in before I do foundation lately, because I did notice that they stay on longer than when I fill them in after. Now I'm taking this concealer by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the shade 0.75, and I'm just using this to carve out my eyebrows, and the brush that I'm using is just a regular concealer brush from Ulta. Now I'm using the Soft Ochre Paint Pot by MAC just to prime my eyelids, and I'm just packing that on with my finger and then setting that with any matte powder just to make blending easier. Now I'm going straight into the Shade & Light Eye Kit in the shade Plum, and I'm taking this base color, and using a Sigma E38 blending brush, I'm just going to be dusting that all over my transition area. Now I'm taking this contour shade, and I'm using a Morphe M518 brush just to start buffing that into my crease, and instead of just putting more pressure on the outer corner, I'm going to be trying to put even pressure throughout the entire crease so that it's not focused more on the outer V, if that makes sense. And then I'm using this Define color, and I'm using a Sigma E57 brush. I'm just going to start packing this color all over my lid. So what I like to do when I'm doing dark shades like this is start very low to the lash line and then slowly work my way up so it looks a little bit more faded and blended into that transition color. And this does get a little tricky because it is so dark. So I switched over to the Morphe M505 brush because it's a lot smaller and you can really just get right up in there with it. And in person, this looked extremely blended. It looked like I thought I was good to go, and then I uploaded the footage, and now that I'm looking at it, it definitely does not look as blended as it could be. And that's why working with dark colors is so hard, because you really can't tell. Anyways, I just went in with that first transition shade that I used just to blend it out a little bit more and make it look a little bit softer. And then I just left it at that. And now I'm going in with the liquid eyeliner from Sephora. This is the matte black version, not the waterproof version. You can only get this online. And I originally wasn't going to do a winged liner, but I figured since it already is such a dramatic look, I might as well. So I'm just carving out the wing and then filling it in. Now I'm going in with red cherry lashes. These are the number 415, and I just put those on off camera. And then I'm using the Mattifying primer by Makeup Forever, and I'm only putting this in my T-zone, so my forehead, around my nose, and then my chin, and then I'm letting that dry. And then going in with this cream foundation by BECCA. I used 2 pumps and then a damp beauty blender to blend that around my face. And this was my first time using this foundation, and I honestly was not impressed by it. I don't know if I was using too much, or if it just didn't mix well with the primer, or what was really going on. But you could literally see my pores. Like, I'm not kidding, you could literally see holes where my pores were through the foundation. So I have no idea what was going on there, but I tried my best to just blend it out as best as I could, and it ended up working out. I just didn't really like the way that it felt on my face. Then I went in with the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Aqua Concealer, and I'm using kind of a lot of this just because I was trying to cover up what had happened with the foundation. So I'm blending this out with a damp beauty blender again, and it actually did work really well. You couldn't see my pores after this. You couldn't really see any of the flaws that were happening with this foundation. So I'm definitely going to be trying that foundation out again, and I'm just going to be testing it a little bit more just to see if anything changes. And then a little trick I used to do is if your foundation starts looking a little bit too cakey, take a dry beauty blender and then just press it into your skin anywhere that you think it looks cakey, and it's going to take off any extra foundation that does not need to be on there. Then I'm taking the Mercier translucent setting powder, and this is the Kat Von D Shade & Light contour brush that I'm using. So I'm just lightly packing that on anywhere that I put concealer and setting my face with that. And then I'm taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow powder in the shade Chocolate, and I'm taking the darker side of it And I'm just using a small angled brush just to fill in my eyebrows because lately I've really been liking them to be a lot darker. And now I'm using the contour kit by BH Cosmetics, and this contour kit is at a very good price point if you freelance or if you're just looking for a new powder contour kit. I think it was only like $10 or something like that, and the shades look so good on every skin tone. Anyways, this is a Morphe M523 brush, and I'm just kind of carving out my cheekbones with that and then putting that on the sides of my forehead. Now I'm taking the NARSissist Cheek Palette by NARS and using a Morphe M104 blush brush just to dust that over the apples of my cheeks. And then I'm taking the What's Up highlighter by Benefit. This is a cream stick highlighter. And I'm pressing that all along the tips of my cheekbones and then the tip of my nose. And then I'm setting that with Dripping in Gold by Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I'm using a Morphe, I believe this is a Morphe M507 brush, and I'm just very, very lightly setting that highlighter. Now I'm mixing these two shades, and I'm going to be smudging that all over my lower lash line, and then taking a small blending brush and buffing it out. And then I'm using this Sephora waterproof eyeliner in the shade Brown, and I'm putting that on my waterline. Now I'm taking this highlight shade from that same palette, and I'm putting this in my inner tear ducts, and you can't really tell on camera, this isn't white, it's like the prettiest bright purple shade. It looked so cool and it made my blue eyes pop so much, so that's like my new favorite inner corner highlight. And then for lipstick, I'm using Trap Liquid Lipstick by Colourpop, which just paired perfectly with this eye look. Okay, so that completes this look. I really hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.